Oh, we're live. Now back from the studio. It's Tom with the Pair podcast. But the one thing I got to be honest about is one thing in the morning. Why are you looking at me already like that? So in the morning is probably I'm in the grumpiest mood. And since today's podcast is talking about keeping score, the camera's that way. You gotta look at that.
I'm watching you talk.
But since the topic is keeping score, probably the morning is when I do the most score keeping because I'm in a terrible mood every time when I wake up sometimes.
What score are you keeping in the morning?
Do you want to know or do you want to get into it later?
I mean, I feel like I should know now.
No, we're going to jump into it and that'll be our topic of discussion. So I'm Tom and this is the Pair podcast.
I'm Lo.
Chris.
Joey.
All
right. Well, I guess we'll start with, what do you think one word is that describes our relationship this week?
Busy.
You can't take mine.
Busy.
Yeah. And this week's been a hectic week, so definitely for the both of us. So do you want to get into why your week was a little crazy?
Yeah, I'm fitting 7 days of work into 3 days before I have to travel on Wednesday. So I'm seeing, typically I have like 6 days, well, I work 7 days, but I see 6 days of clients. So typically I have like 30 sessions over 6 days and I chunked all 30 sessions into 3 days.
Yep, that would do it.
Ours would do it. Mine was Mother's Day mayhem at work. I think a total of what, maybe 22 hours in 2 days, which was great. What about you? What is one word that you would describe your relationship this week?
I feel like the relationship is calm. Work obviously is hectic every single week, week in and week out. But as far as the relationship goes, it's calm. But I would say this week for her, it's been sore. Extremely sore.
God. I'm so sore. I did my first swim workout and got freaking humbled, dude. I haven't done a swim workout since I last competitively swam 15 years ago. And holy shit, it kicked my ass. I don't know why I thought doing a 90-minute workout my first day back in the pool was a good idea. So that's what I did. I paid for it all weekend. Even today still, I'm like, holy shit, I'm tired.
I thought that was going a completely different direction.
Oh no, not like that. No, I'm ovulating right now, so he's not allowed to touch me.
All right.
No, that's not what he meant. No.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I thought you hit legs maybe or something.
Oh, I did. I did my swim workout, hit legs the next day, paid for it the day after, and I was just like, yeah, I'm no rest day. Yesterday was a rest day, and I rested again today because honestly, my lower back had just had it. So
that's a lot.
Well, that was a lot of words. Sorry.
No. Well, I guess we can kind of just jump into it. But with the show of hands, who has kept some score on their relationships this week?
No. Go ahead. Show of hands.
Yeah. You have to raise your hand if you kept score this week.
I didn't keep score.
Or last week, I guess, really, because today's Monday.
Oh, I guess.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I feel like it's always a little tally.
Yeah.
I feel like I can say not in the last, it wasn't really last week, but I would say there are times. I'm not a huge score keeper in the sense of keeping track of chores and things like that, but I have my ways. What about you?
Yeah. I don't think I keep score until there's some buildup. If I feel like there's something that's not being done, or maybe I don't feel appreciated in some type of way, then I will start to keep score. But I'm not constantly thinking about it. I'm not focused on it. It's just when it happens, when I see something that happens that we talked about, that was like somebody was supposed to take care of this and then I take care of it, and then like the other person has to take care of it. Then it's like, okay, now it's like this is adding up and it's adding up and it's getting to the point where now we have to have a conversation. Like it's time to have a conversation. Somebody's not doing something, and and usually after that, one of us will take care of whatever it is for a few weeks, and then it'll go back to the same thing over again. But I mean, at least somebody takes care of it. But yeah, so keeping score is involved in some capacity, but only when there's some lopsided stuff going on.
Do you think you're subconsciously keeping score for you to even notice that it's lopsided? Like you must subconsciously be keeping score to notice that it's becoming lopsided for you to then actively, consciously be keeping score.
So what happens is life happens. So busyness happens. So when you get busy, you start to notice things more because you don't have time to take care of those things. Mm-hmm. So they're like more of a nuisance. They're in the way. So if it's like, say, for instance, like it's dishes, and I know that in the morning I have to get a bunch of things together for both Chris and I, and if the dishes are in the way, there's no possible way I can get things, then it's like I now have to do the dishes, and that takes away from the time that I needed to allocate towards doing something else for us. And then I'm like, babe, what's going on? Like the dishes. And then she's like, oh, I'll take care of it. She'll take care of it, but it's only when it adds up. So if that happens for consecutive days, then it becomes like, now it's an issue because I'm taking care of both of us in the morning, and like you're supposed to take care of us in the evening so I can take care of us in the morning, and like that's the teamwork. And it's not like we're keeping scores, more like we're on a team and I'm passing you the ball, and then you're just like, you know what? Forget this ball, and throwing it into the stadium.
She's like, actually, I don't want to play.
Yeah. Which is totally in her personality. Like it's cool. Like she can do that all the other times. But in this time when we're trying to get our routine going, we can't do it. But any other time, she's like a fairy. She's just floating around doing whatever she wants to do. Like it's whatever. But when we're trying to get things done in the morning and we're moving at a high pace, then things have to be taken care of.
So do you think it's not a resentment until like, because you're saying that it builds up, but you don't really have a resentment towards it, or you're not keeping score until you had enough. Do you think you've had a silent resentment towards those things until
something like that I wouldn't have resentment towards. I think something more intimate, something that impacts our relationship long term, I would have more resentment behind. So like, say for instance, like there's a lack of intimacy and that builds up, and that's like because it builds up in you. I'm a man, and like that testosterone and everything, I'm working out every day, and my libido's through the roof, and like I have to get it out. And if it's not happening, then I'm like, what is going on? Like we have to have a talk because it's time. It's time to get it going.
No, we're tired.
So that's different.
We're just.
I'm sorry.
We are tired. We are girls, and we are tired.
Yeah. So what happens is when you're not tired, that's when it's action time. When I see you active, when I see you doing something that requires energy, it's like, okay, let's go right now. Let's go. You got energy. Let's go. Let's do it.
You have to get it in a time frame.
Yeah. Perfect. It's got the stars on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will align the stars. The stars will be aligned.
I will be aligned.
Well, I think
part of it is that this is TMI, but when I'm ovulating, it makes like he can smell it on me, and I think it makes him crazier. But I'm like, don't touch me because we're not trying to have a child right now. So if you get too close, this is not good. What?
That's like one of those fairy books, and he like smell you.
Yeah. It's like in my pheromones or something. Yeah. So I'm like, I love you so much. Get away from me for the next week, and then you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, that stuff is real. That stuff is real. It's strong too.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone yesterday. I am not ready to be a mother. Stay over there.
Yeah. All right. And what about you guys? How about you?
Do we keep score?
Yeah. Do you keep score? Do you, and if you do, like, do you build resentment? What's the energy behind it?
I think it only comes out, honestly, for me, similar to you, Joe, Like, I've got 900 things on my mind and on my plate, and I'm still trying to do these things. I think what's tricky about Tom and I is that we don't see each other do the things that help us at home. So like cleaning the apartment, or like, yeah, like you can see laundry because it gets folded. I will say I don't do laundry. Tom does laundry. I think I've done laundry like 4 times in our whole entire relationship. And I say I thank him for it. But like the dishes, sometimes like I'll stack the dishwasher at night before I go to bed, and I'll unload it the next morning, and he'll get home from work and I don't even think he realizes that I've done the whole load of dishes. So it's like things like that that he doesn't see. And then he might be getting upset because maybe I'm not doing laundry, but I'm like, oh, I do all of these things when you sleep until noon every day. And I make all the counters down, and I clean up the couch every morning, and I make sure like the apartment in the morning is clean for him so that he can wake up and be relaxed during the day when he comes out. But like for him, he's home during the day. So he is also then sometimes double dutying the things that I've done in the morning. So I think that's hard for us because we are on such opposite schedules. But I do think for me, it's less about keeping score and more about cognitive load. Like sometimes I lose it because I have so much on my mind from all the businesses that I need to like do all of these tasks. And there's just like a cognitive load that like, I just need you to do this and I can't walk you through it. And then it's hard for me when I get home and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like, and then I am very reactive. So when I am overstimulated like that, when I'm super stressed out, I blow up. And then it's like, you didn't do blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you haven't done X, Y, and Z. And then it kind of is like, these throwbacks, and I'm like, and then it gets into like, well, I do this when you're sleeping. And then we kind of realize during that conversation that we both do a lot, but we just don't see each other do it. So what we've been trying to do is when we recognize something that the other person has done, we acknowledge it. So like the other day I came home and I texted him and I said, the apartment looks great. Thank you so much. Or like, thank you for doing, like if I fold the laundry, because that's like a big deal. If I do laundry, he'll text me and be like, thank you for doing the laundry. So it's like things like that. Like I think recognizing the other person's effort helps reduce the scorekeeping.
Yes. Appreciation. It boils down to appreciation and being seen. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're very intentional with everything you're doing. You're doing it because you want him to have an easier day. You want him to be comfortable. And I'm sure that's the same thing he's doing for you. Like when he does those things, he's doing them because he wants you to, your life to be a lot easier. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be as a partner. You're supposed to be making each other's life easier because like, if you're not, like, what's the purpose? Like you're supposed to come in this thing and like be helping each other. It's teamwork. But yeah, but Tom, not to interrupt.
No, but I think it's difficult with just being on such different schedules. One, because we don't see what each other are doing, so it makes it seem like the other person isn't really doing anything. Mm-hmm. And so we don't see what's actually happening. So when like for me, like when I wake up and I have like all these things to do, and then I have all these things to do around the house, that's when I start to, drive myself crazy and like kind of build up these like silent resentments and like keeping that scoreboard, those tally marks in my head. But see, this is really what I was talking about. In the morning, I'm not like in a bad mood.
Yes, he is.
But okay. But if I let like something bother me, it will fester. And then that's when, I start talking negatively in my head.
In his head. Do you hear this? So like, he would never tell me this either. I can just tell by his attitude. And then I'll say, Tom, what's wrong? Nothing. And then it'll be like days until I finally bring up something that he didn't do. And then he unloads everything that he's been holding inside that I haven't done on me. So he wouldn't even talk about it unless I initiate that conversation of me being like, hey, this really bothered me when you said you were going to do this. And I've been doing X, Y, and Z, and you needed to do this. And he'd be like, well, I have been doing blah, 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 blah. And you haven't been doing this. And I'm like, well, now's not the time for you to discuss that.
So Tom, why don't you say something? That's the beauty of like communication, is like you get to share how you're feeling in the moment. As long as you come from a place of feeling like this is what you feel and you express that to her, like it should be a constructive conversation.
Yes, but I'm a poor communicator.
So you got to start somewhere, and that's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to be a poor communicator. You got to start somewhere, and you have somebody that's like patient and willing to go the distance, and you guys are kind of learning together how to communicate with each other. Because I feel like communication is not like this just like blanket thing. Like it changes for each individual because everybody's mind is different, and everybody conducts themselves in different ways. And you have to communicate with people differently because it's not like a cookie cutter. We're not just like cookie cutter people. You have to kind of work with what you get.
So the one thing is I use as an excuse is because Lauren sometimes blows up on some things. So, and she's already stressed as it is. I don't want to like just, say negative things. I want to try to keep everything light and airy because you do have a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put more on that with sometimes things that don't really matter much.
And I've said, like, I think that this is important for everyone to realize that stress is different in different areas of your life. Like I have stress at work, and I have friends that have said this to me, like, oh, I just know how busy you are. I didn't want to bother you. I'm like, this is something that I actually have mental space for. I don't have mental space for dealing with an insurance company. Like that's stupid stress, or like answering an email, but like you calling me is like a welcome to distraction sometimes. Like I want to be there. Like you're not actually on, just call me. Like I know I'm busy, but I'm never gonna, you guys, I answer my phone all the time. My parents always say if something terrible is happening, they'd call me. I have my phone on me just because obviously running a business, I have to. I answer my phone all the time. And like, if he wanted to just like sit down and talk to me, it would be like a totally different conversation. But I think there's like a way to approach it. We've talked a lot about this. I think like Chris has talked about this too, like how you approach the conversation impacts the way that it's going to turn out. But I will say when he does something big, he like shows me, he's like, look, I rearranged the cup cabinet. And I'm like, wow, it looks so good. You did so good. Good job. Like,
that's a terrible example.
No, but like you were so excited about it that you like rearranged it and put things on different. It was very cute. And he's like, I put your stuff here and my stuff here, and I made everything fit, and I rearranged all of our supplements. Or like when he cleans the bathroom and gets to use this special bathroom cleaner, and he's like, look how good the shower looks. I'm like, thank you. Or like if I do something that took a lot of effort, but I know he wouldn't necessarily notice because it's almost smaller, like reorganizing the fridge, I'll say something to him to be like, hey, look what I did. Because it's my way of saying like, I did this, I want to show you, and I want appreciation. And I don't think it's bad to ask for appreciation instead of like waiting for someone and like testing them. I guess that's, yeah. I think he did.
But isn't it all about like loving the person, like loving your person the way they want to be loved, and you being loved the way you want to be loved? So communication is like the origin. That's like the very beginning. And how you want to communicate with your partner, you want to find out how they want to be loved, and how they view communication, effective, constructive communication. And as long as you both know that, and like we know that as well, like as long as we know that, then we know how to present an issue to our partner in a way that's going to be effective, that's not going to get them to be upset or irritate them or whatever, or like in your case, get her to shut down. Like I don't want her to shut down, so I have to communicate to her the way that she wants me to in order for that not to happen.
And it's still a learning game. Like, I know that like you guys still are learning that, like there's different ways to navigate that. I do also think you could approach something the perfect way, and I could just be a bitch that day. Like I could.
Now, is that fair?
I mean, people are just in a bad, like something terrible could have happened, and like I could just be in a bad, same with him. He could just be annoyed and not have the mental load. My friend likes to refer to mental loads as spoons, which I think is really like tangible. When she has 10 spoons, she's got all of her mental load, and she'll tell her husband sometimes like, I'm coming home with 1 spoon. Like I have 1 spoon left to give, and that's it. That's all I've got. And I think that that's like a good barometer to basically say, this is where I'm at. So if you've got something to talk to me about, you better make it easy on me tonight, or wait till I have a larger, you
Mm-hmm.
know, mental load capacity.
Like,
And that's optimal. I mean, that's a form of communication.
Yeah. Chris, what about you?
I feel like, so in terms of like scorekeeping and like just kind of the whole conversation, like because I'm so in the moment, I don't really experience these like buildups like that. Like I feel like maybe I'm overstating it, but I recognize how much he does for me, how much he cares for me, how much he takes care of in our relationship, that this is going to sound like very like trad wife. I don't need to be taken care of, but I want to be taken care of.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be cared for and loved. And I want to know that I can, if something happened to me and I was completely out of commission, everything would be okay because he can handle it.
Yeah.
And I rest easy knowing that the partner that I have in Joey is the person that will always be able to show up for me in that way, where if something happened to me, our life wouldn't really have to change because he can take care of things. So
Yeah.
because I know his capacity to take care of things and I trust him wholeheartedly, and I mean, we've been together for a long time, I feel like it's easier for me to not feel like I need to keep score because I recognize how different my life would be and how much worse it would be without him. So I'm hesitant to keep score because it's just not really my personality to do it. I don't even do it in my friendships. Like I'm not a scorekeeper. I'm not like, oh, the last time you called me was this time and I've called you 7 times since then. Like that's just not how I operate. It's not how I think about things. It's more so when I'm with that person, whether it's a friend or a relationship or whatever, like, do I feel like they are showing up for me in the way that I like, or in the way that speaks to me? And I guess because I feel like you do, and because I feel like you do take a lot of the load on, I'm the more emotional one, you're the more like kind of steady, analytical one. I feel like in terms of like load, he carries a little bit more of it than I do. So I don't feel like scorekeeping is something that I just actively do. Like I really don't. Do I really ever come out with like a big buildup of stuff?
No. That's literally me. And that's the only reason it's me, because I'm always thinking like 10 steps ahead. So I'm thinking like how so many things can be impacted. And I'm thinking about the future, so far ahead in the future, and like where the goals are going and how we get there, and like so much strategy involved, and the world is always changing. So adapting to all of those things. So I take on all of those mental stresses so she doesn't have to. So she can just like, just enjoy life. So she can just kind of float and do her thing. And I like that. And I want her to be able to do just that. But sometimes all of that analytical thinking and strategy and strategizing and things like that, it becomes really heavy on me. So the simple things, I just need the simple things taken care of. So it just makes the day flow so much easier. So I can take care of those long-term strategic things that are, that are way in the future.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think one thing is like, I also know him very well. So I do know what will make his day easier. Like, for example, I ran the dishwasher last night, so it needed to be emptied this morning. And we had some dishes last night that the dishwasher was full, so they didn't make it in the dishwasher. And when I got up this morning, I was like, 5 minutes late to work, that's fine. I need to make sure the dishwasher is emptied so I can clear the kitchen counter so that his Monday, which is like one of his busiest days of the week, is not stressful. And I wasn't expecting accolades for that. I wasn't expecting any recognition for that. It was more just like, I know for me that he will have a better, easier day if I just take the extra, sorry, there's like a little fly. He will have a better, smoother, busy day of the week if I just take the 5 minutes to do this thing.
And I show appreciation. I slap her on the butt while she's doing it.
Yep. There you go.
I get my butt grabs and my butt slaps.
Yep.
You guys don't really seem to have like a scoreboard or like anything that you're tallying. So, that makes it a little difficult.
What?
I mean,
difficult.
I don't. I think you said that you.
Yeah, I said I do to a certain extent, but I don't let it like let it enrage me. I don't get it. I don't let it get to a point where it's like I build resentment or anything like that. It just yeah. So yeah. But go ahead. It seems like you were going somewhere.
You know what I have a scoreboard for?
What's that?
The lack of times Tom has disciplined our dog.
He's a dog, and I'll say it one last time.
Yeah, he says it's your dog. I'm like, at this point, it is our dog. And then he sits here.
No,
and
I just say he's a good boy. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, he literally just said on the phone with his brother, he's your dog. I said,
She wants me to yell at him. I can't yell at him.
yeah, because he has to sometimes. He's got to lay the law down. We've got to have some evenness on that.
It's not a good cop, bad cop type of deal.
Yes,
I'm just the bad cop.
I'm the good
But he's
cop.
the good cop. That's the balance, all right?
That's right.
One person has to be a disciplinarian, the other person is the,
The spiral.
the reward signal.
One thing is King likes to beg at the table, but she wants me to yell at him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't beg to me, he begs to her.
But I'm trying to enjoy this is the thing, is I'm home from work. This is something where it's a mental load thing. I just get home from work after a long freaking day, and I'm trying to eat, and I'm trying to not have to manage something else, and he sees the dog next to me breathing on me, and I've asked him to go away. I'm like, can't you just handle this? Can't you just make him go away from me? Instead of having me have to manage this now and like have to stay on top of it.
I guess if Tom's not eating with you, then I guess that's fair.
Yes.
Tom's eating too?
Yes.
Well, if Tom's eating too, then I mean,
I understand what Lo is saying, because I hear this from like parents a lot, is that with kids, with your dog, whatever, nobody wants to 100% of the time be like the not fun parent or the disciplinarian, because you want to also have the time where the other person is kind of being a teammate, helping you discipline the child or the dog or whatever, so that you get to be the fun one sometimes. Because nobody wants to constantly be the one that's like in a negative light in the eyes of your dog, your children, whatever. Like it's not entirely fair to put that load on just one person, because I mean, I know even growing up, like my dad worked, like he went to work every day. My mom had her own like business, so she worked from home. She was home with us every day. And when he would get home from work, she would be like, okay, back me up here. Like take some of the load off of me. Do some of the things that I would otherwise be doing. Like pick up something or make dinner or whatever. But my mom is very like, she also likes to have control. So she likes to do all the things, but she would sometimes say like, I feel like I'm the one who always has to tell them no. You need to come out and tell your kids no sometimes too, because it's not fair for it to always be me. And I feel like that's what Lo is saying. Like, I don't want to always be the no one.
I don't. And the other thing with the dog is it has to be consistent across the board. So then all of a sudden he's letting him do this thing. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pay over $2,000 for you to be throwing that money down the drain for him to be untrained like that. He's letting him walk around like a psychopath on a leash. I've had to like this dog is a maniac now.
Whoa. What do you mean he walks around like a maniac on the leash? He just does good when you're walking him.
He walks great when I walk him alone.
Well then, yeah, but he walks good with me. So when you're around,
if you give King an inch, he will take a mile. I remember when Lauren first got King back from training, and he was an angel, did everything. And then when it was a little bit more lax, like he would be a maniac. And like, I would watch him sometimes if like Lo was out of town or whatever, when we lived together. And like, if you don't keep him in check, he will take that inch and he will go a mile, and he will walk all over the place and not be at heel and like do all of the things. So I get what Lo is saying. Like I don't know how he is now, but he was a very well-trained dog. Very well-trained.
Very well-trained. My whole thing is that he doesn't listen right now the first time, which he did. And he does usually to me. If I tell him to get off, he usually will just like jump right down from the bed, but Tom's like, off. And then is petting him while he's saying it.
No,
I'm like, what the fuck is that going to do? You think he's going to get off the bed while you're still rubbing his belly?
No. It's not gonna
I
happen.
was like, get off. I'm like, yo, right now.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I feel like that is something a lot of people keep score about. It's like having to be either the bad parent or the bad dog mom or whatever. Like nobody wants to 100% of the time be the one that has to like lay down the law.
Yeah. I think, would you guys think it's healthy at all?
What?
Keep score at all?
To keep score?
Mm-hmm.
I think it. Go ahead.
No. Oh, I was breathing. Go ahead.
I think it's healthy. You remember that episode with Dwight and Andy when they were competing with each other to like who can like out.
It was favors. Remember?
Yes.
He did a favor for him. And
Yes.
it was like they were just trying to get each other back with the favors.
With favors.
Like, do you guys watch The Office?
Yeah, but I don't remember that.
Oh my God, it was
Yes.
so funny.
Yes, that was a great episode. I think it's healthy when you're competing to like best your partner at doing just great things for them. It's like you're always competing to like show, like to make their life easier. So doing things to make each person's life easier, even if you're not doing this all the time, just maybe set out a day, one day a week, and that's all you're doing is just like, how can I make this person's life easier? And then you do something, and then they do something, and you do something. And then that build up to the evening could be explosive. Just think about it.
Yeah.
You just like at the beginning of the day, you start off the day, you just make her life easier. Boom, you make her, get her whole morning set up. You wake up early, get her whole morning set up, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, now I got something for you." And then she does something for you, Tom, and just blows your afternoon out the water. And then you're like, "Okay, I got something for you in the evening." And then you get her back in the evening, and then to top it off, boom, at the end of the night, bam, then it's over with. And it's like, wow, that was a great day. Why don't we do that every single day? That's intensive. That takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of time. So that's not something you can do every day. But I do think that's healthy. That's a healthy way of taking score.
I think so. And I think but to your point, like what you said about, that's not feasible every single day.
No.
Because I think also part of being in a relationship, which means like being on a team with somebody else, means that sometimes there are times where they don't have the capacity that you do. So you pick up the slack. And people that say relationships are 50-50, you're dead fucking wrong. It's not 50-50. Sometimes it's 80-20. Sometimes it's 85-15. It really depends. Like sometimes you might be having a great day and I'm having a shit day. And you pick up 90% of the slack and I'm doing 10% because that's all I have on that day. And I feel like part of that is communication and part of that is just being like intuitive and in tune with your partner and who they are. Because like he can tell when I've had a long day. I don't usually have to say much. For him, I will sometimes say like, when I ask him like, how was your day? If he doesn't say a lot or he doesn't tell me that much and I have to ask more questions, I know the day was more taxing, which is why he's not just like, oh, this is how my day was.
Yeah.
Even though you're not like a huge talker, I can tell. And I mean, I'm also just personality wise, I'm extremely perceptive to that stuff. I pick up on every little fucking thing. Like you will never get past me with anything because I notice it all. And I feel even the slightest shift in emotional energy and not necessarily, I used to think it was always directed at me. And I would be like, oh my God, I did something and I don't even know what I did. Now I'm more secure in the relationship. So I'm not like, oh my God, I did something. I'm like, something's going on here. Like, what can I do to help? And usually I have to ask because you have trouble asking for help. You won't ask for help.
Ask for help.
That's like not something you do. I don't think you have ever one time in the 6 years we've been together, like come out of your mouth and been like, I need help with this unless I ask you. But I think part of that is also like, I know to ask. Like now I have learned if I want to be helpful, I'm probably going to have to ask him what I can do that will help. Because he's not just going to come out and ask for it. Otherwise he'll just do it. And that was actually something I feel like we used to get into it about at the beginning of our relationship because I didn't know that you wouldn't just tell me when you needed something or just ask me to help you with something. Like that is just so not in your nature. I feel like it's so foreign to you that you just never did it. And so I think we used to have more of those like build up to a point of frustration because I wouldn't know and I wouldn't know to ask. And in my experience, I'm like, okay, well, if you need help, just frickin' tell me. But that's not who he is. And so now I know that part of my job in knowing him and being his partner is being like, hey, how can I help you today? What can I do that will make your life easier? When I notice that he's like super busy or showing me signs that there's some like stress there, because he's not going to come out and just say it.
That's always been an issue for me in the past with anybody I've ever talked to. Is I never asked anybody for anything, and people felt like they couldn't do things for me. But so I think about at the beginning of a relationship. When you first get in a relationship with somebody, right? You're literally taking score, but you're not thinking about it. You're not constantly taking score. What you're doing is you're just doing all these things because you met this new person and you want to impress them. You want to show them that you care about them and that you potentially can get to the point where you love them, but you want to show them these things. So you're doing all of these things for them, and they're doing things for you in return. And you're not keeping score. You're just doing things because you're giving them the best version of you. And you're telling your friends, you're like, I did this for him. I did this for him. Maybe a holiday comes up, Valentine's Day or something comes up. Oh, I did this for him. He did this for me. I did this for him. And you're just going back and forth doing all of these things for each other because you appreciate each other so much, or at least you want to show each other that you appreciate each other so much because this is new. They also call it the honeymoon phase, where you're doing all of these things to show each other you care so much. And that's like that healthy type of keeping score, where you're doing all these things. It's not sustainable, obviously, but it's a healthy form of keeping score. But that was my issue in the past. But go ahead.
Tom used to bring me coffee at work every day, almost every day. And my coworkers, because I used to work in a school, would be like, "Oh, Tom's here again." And I'd run out and he'd bring me coffee or like drop me off lunch or something. And like today, actually at the office, he like showed up with coffee today. And I was like, "Oh, I missed this." I was like, I missed this a lot. Like I missed getting coffee from him and seeing him in the middle of my day. It was nice. It was a fun little treat. I agree, Joe. I'm very similar. I don't like to ask for help. And I don't ask for help. Sorry. When I ask for help, it's because I don't want to do it, not because I can't do it. It's because I have other things that are a priority and I don't want to do this thing. And I know that this is something you can handle. So I'm just going to pass it off to you. And it's not because I can't do it. It's just like, I just really don't want to.
I think you're pretty similar in that way. Like like this is the dumbest example, but he hates having to deal with like making a phone call to like schedule something or anything like that. So for example, we just had to do like our car requires like an annual tune-up maintenance, whatever. So we had to do the annual tune-up and maintenance. He doesn't want to have to deal with that. He does not enjoy the process. He doesn't want to have to call and make the appointment. He doesn't want to have to take it in and deal with the people there, not because we don't like them, but just because he feels like his time can be better spent doing something else. And that's totally fair and fine. So like, I know that in our relationship, even though it only happens like once a year or whenever the car needs like new tires or whatever, which, oh my God, that's a whole other story, but we've had 3 nails in our tires in the last 2 months. So much construction around us that it's actually insane. But anyway, point is like, I know that's something he doesn't enjoy doing. So I just know that that's my role. And we've talked about this a lot, like knowing your role in your relationship is super important. Like, what can I do that I know will make your life either easier, better, or just take care of something that you don't want to do? And like vice versa. I hate cooking. I haven't cooked in our entire 6-year relationship, not one fucking time. He does all the cooking. He loves to cook. I hate it. That's our trade-off. That's just how it is. But I deal with all of like the car things. I call, I schedule the appointments, I drive it out there, I drop it off, I pick up the courtesy vehicle, I bring it home. Like I do all of that stuff. And that's like a dumb example, but like know your role. Like the more you know your role in your relationship and what your partner values that you take care of in terms of like just the not so exciting parts of a relationship, like just daily tasks and just being an adult, like the adulting stuff, I think the easier it makes it to be in a relationship where you're both contributing in ways that each other actually values.
I think that was a great example because that's why you spend the extra money. Like we spent the extra money to make sure that everything was paid for. So when she goes to take that car in, there's nothing she has to worry about. She drops the car off. Everything is paid for already, no expense at all. But if there's ever an issue, if anybody ever gives her a problem, that's when I get involved. And that's when I have to take care of, and I'll go and I'll talk to whoever I need to talk to in order to make sure it's taken care of. But one thing that she does that I absolutely hate, I don't have a problem washing clothes. I'll throw the clothes in the washing machine, throw them in the dryer. I don't have a problem with that. I enjoy doing that. It doesn't bother me at all. But Folding clothes is the absolute worst thing. I think it's the absolute worst like thing you can do with your time. I think it's a complete waste of time. Folding clothes is a waste of time. But go ahead, Lauren, you about to say something. Lo?
No, I agree. I hate it. I literally would rather claw my eyeballs out than fold clothes.
Yep. I don't enjoy folding clothes, but that is the trade-off. That is a task he hates that I will pick up and do. Now, he might have to give me a couple days. It might sit in the dryer for a couple of days, maybe a week if we haven't washed laundry again since then. Cause like, I'm not gonna lie, I do put it off sometimes until there's like a buildup and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do it all at once.
Mhm.
But that is definitely one of the trade-offs.
I want us to try to think outside of just like our relationship and just think at like relationships in whole. Cause I feel like you guys have a very different relationship than a lot of other people. And just like, I want you to think like in general, because no one's going to have your relationship and no one's going to have Tom and I's relationship, right? So I think when we're asking these questions, it's important to just think about like relationships in general outside of just like your own, because, you know, I probably should have kept score sooner in some relationships. And I think that that's important to note. Like, I didn't, and I should have.
Mm-hmm.
Versus now, like, it's just really not that fucking deep for me to keep that score. Like, yeah, I get annoyed about it and I'll yell, but like in the grand scheme of things, like it's really not that deep. And this isn't going to be a relationship killer for me if he doesn't put his dishes in the dishwasher one more time. Like, that's not, but like, there are things that I definitely should have kept score in past relationships. And I think maybe when we're talking about this, we should just like speak in general and less like so specifically about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can even talk about past relationships.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we've all had toxic past relationships.
Oh.
With people that we didn't want an actual relationship with, that maybe felt like, you know, they wanted a relationship with us and they were doing relationship-y type of things. And like, it was a turnoff because we didn't want a relationship with them.
Yeah.
And that exists. That happens a lot.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can lead off with that. I mean, I know for a fact that a few of my like past relationships or whatever, I mean, I don't know if it's only a few months, is it really a relationship or is it a situationship? Well, you can decide, but whatever. In time spent with someone where it was at least a couple of months that we were like dating, whatever. I do think there were times where I definitely should have been keeping score. Like I should have been noting like, how many times has this person done literally anything for me? Why am I going out of my way? Like, I'm going to give you an example, and this is going to tell you just what a absolute shit relationship this was. And Lauren's probably going to remember this, but I dated a guy in grad school who was, I was doing way more than that man deserved from me. And when I say doing way more, I mean, I did everything. I was taking out the dog, feeding the dog, driving 45 minutes to be helping with the dog. I was paying for everything. I was buying the dog's food. Why? Why was I doing that? That wasn't my dog, but because I'm a nice person, way too nice, and I have a serious history of people pleasing, which is also something we can talk about. But I should have been looking at the relationship and been like, what the hell am I doing here? What does this guy do for me? Not one single thing. I'm paying for everything. I'm taking care of his dog. I'm showing up and bringing food to his house. I'm making the drive. I mean, what am I doing? And I was in grad school at the time. I was busy. Like I had shit to do.
When do you think you made that realization of like, what am I doing? Like, why am I here?
Honest to God, when Lo pointed out to me, she was like, what are you doing? No man that treats you the way this guy does. I mean, and there were other things that were just so out of line. He did not treat me well. But she was like, he's not nice to you. He speaks terribly to you. He isn't nice to your friends. He really doesn't have anything going for him. He doesn't have a good job, which is why I was paying for everything, which is insane because I was a student who did not have a job. And all of this stuff was stacking up. And Lo just looked at me one day and she was like, Chris, what the fuck? And that's all she had to say. And I started looking at everything and I was just like, yeah, what the fuck? What am I doing? This guy is providing no value to my life. He will never be someone who I will be with long term, because as soon as I get this degree, I'm fucking out of here. And this is not someone who I will carry into my future, because he doesn't provide anything to me. I wasn't getting anything out of it. I think I was just too nice to realize it.
I think the idea of the person sometimes can keep you in it too. Like, and sometimes we're trying to prove people wrong about things. So we stay in relationships hoping that it'll take a turn for the better to be like, see, I told you. That never happens. If you're in a relationship because you told your friends that a guy was one way and you're trying to prove to them that the guy is the way you think he is, he's never that way. He is the way your friends see him, and you need to leave. He is not the way you see him. He is the way your friends see him. Time to get out. And you're never going to prove to your friends that he is the way you think he can be, because you just think he can be that way, and he is not that person.
You have no proof. Like, you have nothing to back it up.
Zero.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And when your friends are seeing that you're being treated like shit, a lot of times they don't want to tell you right away, because they're like, okay, give it maybe it was a bad day, maybe whatever. Over time, there is a pattern of behavior. And if your friends are recognizing the pattern of behavior and bringing it up to you, and you're sitting there and you're trying to justify it to yourself, that person is not the person that you have built them up in your head to be. Now, I will say sometimes friends can overstep and they might not know the person well enough. So, you have to take that into consideration. But when you're trying to reconcile the image you have in your mind with who that person actually is when they're with you and who other people are seeing them to be, you need to reconcile those two things. Because if you don't, you will continue living for the version that doesn't exist and probably never will.
I also feel like the other thing too is there's got to be a reason your friends are saying this. So if you're only sharing the negative parts of the relationship with your friend, that's all they're going to see. So you need to start sharing the positives too, so that they can have a better picture of who that person is, so that they can fully know that person, or bring them around. Like, if you want your friend, like, I feel like in relationships so many times, like, it does come from like not knowing the person and not fully knowing or seeing you guys together. And all friends have is going off of you calling us at 4:00 in the morning, hysterically crying. And we're like, okay, what the fuck? This is bad. And then we never get to hang out, right? Like, how many times have, like, when we lived apart, Chris, and like I called you and I'd be like, no, but I love him. And you'd be like, this is so dumb. Like, this is not okay. Right. And like, obviously I didn't, but like, it was just like a bad, like, your friends see a pattern. If you're calling all the time upset, that's not how you should be talking to your friends about your significant other.
Yes.
Like,
I think that's very, very accurate. What about you?
So my landscape, I love guys like that. Like, guys that she just described. I love guys like that, because my thing was a lot different. I would always like invite people over, and I would get in these deep discussions about their life and about their relationships and different things like that. And they would talk about guys like this all the time. But the difference between me and the average person, the difference between me and another guy is a lot of guys just pile on. They pile on. Me, I'm devil's advocate. So what I try to do is I try to defend that guy. I try in every way I can possible, try to defend them, to get them to see the other perspective, because a lot of times people's perspective is their reality. So if I can get them to see a different perspective, then that might open their mind up a little bit. Not saying that the guy was, the worst, but just to get them to see a different perspective. And a lot of 90% of the time, they would see a different perspective, and they would be able to say, okay, I could have done these things better in that relationship, but the relationship still wouldn't have worked because of the obvious reasons. But I love those type of like deep discussion. So that would be my thing. It's just having these deep discussions and just like being able to just like tackle your entire life in one night. And just I can learn so much from an individual in that one night. And that would bond me. That would create this bond with the person that was very strong in a very short period of time. And I had no interest beyond that point. So, I mean, I wasn't interested in anything beyond that point. So it didn't evolve into anything else.
But I think the part you have to be very clear about is that they would create an emotional bond for
Yes.
that woman.
Yes.
Who would then feel very attached to
Yes.
you.
Yes.
And
So crazy.
And that would create a problem for me down the line. And then that's where, because I never asked for things. I never but anytime they wanted to hang out, I'm always like, yeah, come hang out. I would cook. I would do everything. Like other guys are not doing the stuff that I would go out and buy the most expensive stuff, like lobsters and steak and all this kind of stuff. And I buy everything, and it would be so nice. But I only enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed the conversation, and in some cases,
and what else?
in some cases, the intimacy as well, because the intimacy is that just like putting that on top, just like a cherry on top, and it's like boom. But then it was I guess I was an asshole in that type of situation because it would feel to the person that I was like leading them on, maybe, I don't know. But all I was doing was trying to help them, and I was trying to help.
What? Wait, I'm very confused. Were they both present, or are you just talking to the woman?
No, I'm just talking to the woman. So I'm talking to the woman. She's talking about a previous relationship she was in, whether it was a recent breakup or just her last boyfriend, and we would just dive into everything, the ins and outs of the entire relationship, and then I would get her to see, like, it was like she was having a conversation with him, but just on a higher cognitive level. So I would be able to share like what he was going through in those moments that they were having, like arguments and like breakups in and out of relationships and different like just disagreements that they would have in their relationship. And then that would bring this bond with me and her so close. It was so like, it was magical.
You have like a box where you collect their names of like, snag this one, got her.
No,
you like
honestly,
memorabilia.
Honestly, it was never anything like that. I was genuinely like, I felt connected to the person, but I just didn't want a relationship because I felt like at that time, I was helping. I was just helping people.
So let me give a little perspective on this. What?
I have a question.
Yes.
I get the perspective. No, I understand because Joe is a chatter. But Joe, my question is, do you think you use that to get so deep with them so that they don't have to see you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, for some perspective, as someone who doesn't like to share about themselves, this was a really good way to get someone to talk about themselves the entire time and have a great time doing it. And then, of course, your dude gets sex out of it. But
that's not. I was never the initiator. It would always be them. They would always initiate.
By letting her talk about herself for 4 hours.
Right.
Yes.
So for women, that builds emotional connection and intimacy. So then they want to sleep with you because they feel connected to you. But then they are confused when 2 weeks go by and they don't hear from you and they don't.
Because they never got to know me. It was just me learning them and helping them, but they never did the same to me. So then that's why I never felt connected to them.
Did you give them a chance?
Yeah, I would give them a chance. I stayed friends with them, but
not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Obviously not now. But I remained friends with them, and they just wonder why nothing ever went anywhere. And I'm not going to sit up there and say, because you don't ask the questions, you don't try to get all the learn about me the way I learned about you. Like I know everything about you.
Yeah.
Like I know all of these things, every little subtle thing I know, and you know nothing about me.
But did you give them the time to ask?
I gave them. I would give them time because I would hang out. When I hang out with people, I hang out with people for hours. I never kick people out. I never did any of that stuff. So they can hang. If they hang out with me, they can hang out with me. They can hang out with me.
I think he's saying within those times that you were hanging out, you're very good at firing the next question. Did you need space for them to turn the conversation to you?
I mean, that's a skill set. I can't teach somebody how to do that.
But your skill set isn't allowing them to answer your question.
And there it goes.
And
that's what they have to be able to.
And here's what I'll say about that. In his mind, if you don't have that skill set, it's a weed out process.
Yes.
And because I mean, speaking as someone who did at one point newly date him. I mean, now we're deep in, but at one point it was new and I didn't know shit about him. I mean, everybody goes on a first date, right? And you don't know the other person, you don't know anything about them. And even though he was rapid firing questions and like, I could tell that he didn't want it to be turned back on himself because, or that he did, but he would actively try to make it difficult. Like, not because he doesn't want to share, but because he does not open up easily.
I would have just been like, why the fuck are you making this so hard? Shh, tell me about you.
No, and that's why for him, I think he had a like revolving door type of relationships before we got together, because I don't think you got enough effort from other people to get to know you in a way that wasn't pushy, because it was also like, if you question him in the wrong way, he will take that as pushing and digging. Is that fair?
There's too many stipulations here. You push and dig. I'm going to push and dig.
But I think like you gauge whether you feel like it's genuine. The desire to know you is genuine.
Yes, I can tell if somebody's genuinely trying to get to know me. Yes.
Fair.
Wait, so
And
why
then he leaves more space.
So
What?
you're trying to weed them out without letting them ask questions.
So I would ask questions. It's definitely a weed out process, because I have to know that they genuinely want to get to know me. And a lot of people love just hearing about themselves. A lot of people love solving their own problems. They don't. A lot of people don't have time to deal with other people's problems. They have so many problems in their own life, and I don't have a problem helping. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spend my time doing that. And if during all that time that I'm helping you, in all of that time, if you can't turn that around and try to help me, or try to even get to know what type of problems I'm dealing with in my life, then why would I invest?
Fair. Joe, I'm going to have a schedule send text message to you once a week. What kind of problems are you dealing with in your life? I'd love to support you. Schedule send it every Wednesday. I feel like Wednesdays and Thursdays, things will probably come up. I might get some. Once you know that that's me actively thinking about you.
I love that.
Constantly check in.
Yeah, but
I love that.
Like you're saying, everyone likes to talk about themselves, right? And so it's when someone actually finally gets that chance to do it, because usually in conversations with like just random people, everyone's just trying to get their own word out, so you finally gave someone the chance to talk and be seen and actually listen, and that makes them feel good. But at the same time, they're just going because now there's actually someone to listen to them and actually care. But then they keep going on, and then you go tell them to fuck themselves.
I never tell them to go fuck themselves. I always give them that space, so they know every time they reach out to me, they can actually have somebody that will engage, like somebody that's actively listening. I'm not listening to them so I can get the next word in. I'm listening to them, like processing everything, and they don't get that.
Yeah.
Like literally, people don't get that. In like, if you think about how many conversations you have with people throughout the day, it's just back and forth, rapid fire. You never get somebody that's sitting there just listening to you and processing, just so they can try to help in every way they can. And then you share nuggets with them, and they go off and do research and then come back with solutions.
Joe, I have a question, because maybe this is like give some perspective.
Mhm.
You've been very helpful to me in like my fitness and like diet. I don't know a place in my life that I could be helpful to you. Does that make sense? Like,
And
I think about this a lot. Like, I'm like, okay, he's given so like, I don't know.
Well, wait, can I like interject too? So like on top of that, you what I've noticed is when you're asked questions, it's hard to get a full answer out of you. So
Yes.
we or I don't know how
To help.
to help.
yeah,
And
it's
we
definitely, and like I said, it's a skill set. It's definitely a skill set.
You don't have it.
I'm sorry.
So we don't have the skill set.
Listen, I haven't had a one-on-one conversation with either of you before. Like, we never sat down and had a conversation just back and forth.
I think
Not one-on-one. Not. I've never sat down with Tom and just Tom and I just were going back and forth for a few hours.
Well, that's why when we were supposed to go to Miami and have our own time together, and we got denied that simple pleasure.
Sorry.
I was very upset.
I just want you to know that, like, I guess maybe the way I try to support you is to let you know that I see you and that, like, I hear you and what you say is validated and that, like, I feel that, or like I try to help in terms of explaining you to Kristen and Girl Brain.
Yes.
This is what he means. And I see and I do this too. So I feel like maybe I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And I think the other hard part is that, like, even if I do try to, like, share something, you'll be like, oh, I know this. I know that. And I'm like, oh, all right.
But
sorry.
now,
Yeah.
I know.
So,
be involved in Joe's life.
We're gonna go sit down and brainstorm ways to be more involved.
I'm just gonna call you tomorrow.
yeah. So that's been a huge problem with me in the past, is like me having these like relationships or friendships with people, and they get to a point where they feel like they're inadequate. So there's nothing that they can do for me. Like, what can I do for you? I can't figure out anything to do. And I'm just like, I don't need you to do anything for me. I'm good. What do you need?
Yeah, well, I also don't think like friendships need to be
Transactional.
Transactional, yeah.
Like I do agree that like we can just be like we just enjoy each other's company, and I
exactly
always have good conversations for each other back and forth,
yep.
right? But there are like you want to be helpful to the people that you love and care about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The one thing, I actually just skipped my brain real quick. You said something. And it was no. It was right before that. It was you don't get to have the one-on-one conversation. It's like you're trying to help somebody. But that doesn't need to be every conversation you have with somebody. It could just how are you doing, or just to see what you're doing.
You know what?
Yep.
You and Tom need to have conversations, because he'll be like, oh, I talked to blah, blah, blah today. And I'll be like, why? He'll be like, just to say what's up. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong? He's like, nothing. We were just talking to each other. I'm like, what? You didn't like call to solve the world's problems. And he's like, we were just like saying hi, catching up. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like that would be a good thing for you and Tom. Like, you guys could just like talk about nothing. And then your mental load would be so diminished because you're not solving a problem.
Oh no, I would definitely find something. That's literally what I do when I get in conversations. I'm looking for something that I can like, because this is what it is. I always see potential in people because of me. Like I have this business mind. I'm always like, and it's not even intentional. Like with me thinking about business all the time. But when people talk to me, I can see something that they're very talented in and they're very passionate about. And I'm like, and this is outside of like relationship stuff. So when I'm talking to people about relationship stuff, that's a whole nother conversation. And then we get over to like all of their potential and things that they can do and their skill set and their passion and their abilities. And I'm just like, why aren't you doing this? Like you can do this, and it's easy for you to do it. And I'm just like, do this. And you need help, I can help you. And I can get them set up. And the next thing you know, they're doing it. And I'm like, this is awesome. And then a lot of times I don't talk to them anymore. But I know I can see that they're doing exactly what they're passionate about. And it's amazing. It makes me feel good inside. Just see that they're doing something that they're passionate about. And they were in a place where it might've been a dark place or just a place where they weren't happy. And then now they're in this place and they're loving their life and they're doing all these great things. And it's not like I get to say, I was a part of that. And I don't. I just let them, and a lot of times I pull myself away because they're in their life. They're in their life that they're supposed to be in. So I have no more purpose in their life. I feel like I'm done.
But Joe, you're more than just like a useful person for a time. Like you're a person who deserves to be in someone's life for long term, not just because they need you in the moment. I need you to hear that again. You deserve to be in someone's life because you're a good person, not just because they need you in the moment.
Yeah. I like helping people, and I feel like if I stay in people's lives too long, then I won't be able to help other people.
Okay, well, you're not throwing
Because I
us
only
out.
have. You said what?
You're not throwing us out.
He can't. He doesn't have a choice.
Clearly
No, no,
We have
no.
documents.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
yes.
like friends, like true friends, always
No, I know.
need their real friend to help them out with problems. It's not like, one thing and it cures all and then you go on to the next. It's like, you're supposed to be in each other's lives to help each other and not help each other, just like be with each other.
Companionship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand that. I just feel like in life, everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a purpose, and most people don't know their purpose because they don't get enough time to just sit in their thoughts. And for a lot of people, that's scary. A lot of people don't want to sit in their thoughts. But if you can sit in your thoughts with somebody that's supportive and that it can help you along the way as you're like navigating through all of those thoughts, and then you find the place where you're supposed to be, and then you actually pursue it, and you have somebody that's behind you that's just pushing you and making sure you get to what that is in your mind that you know that you want to do. And then once you catch it, you're gone. Like you just take off. And then I can just like I'll pull back because why am I still there? Like they're doing their thing. They're doing their passion. I get to just like sit back and see them like just doing their thing and happy. And I don't want to like be in that mix. I just want them to just continue what they love to do.
Yeah. I
See, the way though that like I view that sometimes is I'm like, but you helped them a lot. You deserve to be a part of what that looks like going forward. But you just don't, I don't know if you don't desire it or whatever, but it's not your thing. And sometimes I tell them, I'm like, like the people that really like love and care about you, your friends, you don't actually have to be providing something at all times. Like you don't have to just be solving their problems and helping them build and help them grow. And I mean, and you do. I mean, you do that a lot. Like all of your friends are wildly successful. They have huge businesses and all this stuff. And you help them a lot with that stuff. But I think sometimes like, I don't know if you realize that like they just like you as a person. Like they just like having you around. It's not always for personal gain, but I think maybe something in your brain is like, if I'm not providing something, then I'm not deserving of this friendship or their time.
I think the exact same way. I know we did those like life trap tests. That's exactly what my life trap said, is that I make myself like indispensable to people, that I must be providing something of such substance to them. Substance, that's not even a word. But anyways.
It's okay.
I have to be providing something so big to them that like for them to lose me in their life would like harm them in a way that like they would like not be able to do something. And then it gets to the point where like, okay, I'll give you an example. I'm the same way as you. I had a friend reach out to me today that she wanted to do this thing. She's been thinking about it for years and she got money to back her to do it. Someone came up and was like, I'll fund this whole thing. And I was like, great, let's start tomorrow. I'll help you. She's like, yeah, I'm going to keep this on the back burner. I was like, why? Why the back burner? Like, go do it now. Like, and I'm just all for just like jumping and doing it. Like, what's the worst thing that happens? It doesn't go well. Then you just apply to a different job. Then just apply to a job, get a salary if it doesn't work out, but at least you know that you tried. So I feel like I understand that perspective. And I do have a ton of friends, especially like in what I do, that I've helped so much grow their business in my specific field. And they call me and they send me voice memos and ask me questions. And what do I do when this happens? And then I'm, launching a program and they're nowhere to be found to help spread any word about it. And you know what? I'll still do it all on my own. But I understand that perspective where you're like, wow, I spent hours answering you immediately, sending you all of these free resources that otherwise people pay for. But because you're someone I care about, I give it to you for free. And then I get nothing. Like, and it's just like, all right, that's fine. I don't need you. And I'm still going to help you if you reach out to me.
Yeah. And I just think that also boils down to the purpose thing. I just think everybody has a purpose. And if that's your purpose is helping people like that, that's it. It's like we can't expect others to do the same thing that we do, because what we do is our purpose. Like, we found it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're actively doing. And theirs is not it. It's just not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I struggled with this a little bit at like different points in our relationship, because I was like, you do everything. You are very independent. You can do everything. You don't actually need me for anything. You don't need me for anything. Like, I'm not running, your business. I'm not, like, I'm not, other than just like tasks around the house, which like you could hire somebody to do. Like, what are you getting from me? And that used to like really, really drive a lot of insecurity for me in the relationship, because I was just like, what am I providing that you can't get somewhere else? And I struggled. And that's what he said. And because one day I just came out with it. And I was like, what am I bringing to the table that you can't get somewhere else? You can hire somebody to clean your house, wash your clothes, do the dishes, cook you meals. I don't cook, but like all these things can be hired. Like, you can hire somebody to do all that stuff. You can hire somebody, not even hire, you can literally call the place that deals with the car, and they will come and pick up your vehicle and take it out there, and you'll have to deal with them in that moment, but you won't have to like deal with the whole progression of everything. And it was driving me crazy. I mean, even down to just like the things that come with the relationship. Like, you can find a girl that'll sleep with you. You can find a girl that'll go to the mall with you and go on a couple of dates. Like, if you want some companionship, like, what is different? And he literally just looked at me and he was like, it's you. You are the difference. Like, being who you are, that's it. That's the only thing I need from you. And I feel like for me, that was a light bulb moment, because I was just like, I was trying to grab onto like all these tangible things. And what it made me realize is that what he values from me is completely intangible. It has nothing to do with what I do for him or what I provide to him. It's who I am, and then how that improves his life.
Yeah.
And that was really hard for me to grasp at the beginning, because I was just like, I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. Tell me that you like when I fold your clothes. I don't fucking know. But like, it was hard because then I was like, okay, well, what is it about me? Like, I had so many follow-up questions. I was like, so what is it? Because I could not grasp it. I could not understand that for someone like that, who is extremely independent, hyper independent, really doesn't need anything from anybody and provides a lot to other people, like, finding a balance of not feeling like I was just taking from him and not giving anything back was like, I struggled with that for a while until we like talked about it. Communication.
Yeah. I think it's just, like, it's balance, right? If she wasn't here, I would just be working nonstop. And we were talking about it earlier. I would just be working all the time. Just, if I'm not working, I'm finding something else to work. And then I would do my same thing where I had people and I talk to them. And that's still like an extension of work, because I'm like figuring out how I can help them. So it's just like nonstop. And she's my balance, because then she gets me to do things. She gets me to like do things and like actually spend money because I just don't. And I don't think about like, dang, I don't spend money on anything. Like, I never spend money on anything because I'm always working. And it's like, now I'm actually spending money because we're going and doing things. And that's the balance, because I just wouldn't do those. I don't know what I would do.
I know. It's true.
So,
but I think that was like,
I'm a turtle.
you are.
I'm a turtle in my little shell.
I know.
Yeah.
Truly.
Fascinating. Oh my God.
Yes.
I mean,
Joseph.
yeah.
But what about you guys? What about you guys? On the
What
balance
about
and everything. How do you guys balance each other out? Like, aside from like taking score, like, how do you guys feel like you balance each other out?
I think we're complete opposites. Like, I think like how you and Chris are opposites, we are you guys, but the reverse situation. So like, Tom is Chris and I am you.
I would definitely agree with that. I mean, yes, to an
Like
extent.
the role that you play.
Yeah.
I mean, we have different personalities, but the role that you play in the relationship, I think, is similar to how I
think
am.
I think Joey and I have very similar personalities.
Yeah.
But like read your MBTI. You guys are not, you only have like 2 letters in common, but it shows up in a lot of really like obvious ways.
I think a lot of it is like it's weird because you get wrapped up on the things that you're doing, and then I end up getting wrapped up in the things that I'm supposed to be doing for somebody else.
What do you mean?
As like in work wise. Like you work, all your work has been you trying to build something.
Mm-hmm.
I get wrapped up at the things like I have to do like at work.
It's hard because when Tom is home, he's home. Like he is not working. I am working all the time. Like I come home, I'm still working. I like, even though I have an office now, like I do a little bit of a better job, but like I'm still working. Like I get an email, I have to answer it, or I'm looking something up about something else, or someone messages me on Instagram about something and I have to respond to it because like I'm always working. And I think what's really nice about his job is like, that's what he's saying. Like he gets wrapped up at work, the things he has to do for other people. But like, I'm here because these are all things I have to do for me, for my businesses, because they have a direct correlation to like our livelihood. But you're doing this for the benefit of like somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. I guess that is a little bit of a difference in the dynamic because also with like, you know, him having businesses, me having a business, and then us having a business together, like some of our work is always at home and we can do it together. So I see what you're saying.
And then like I get mad because I'm a business owner and I don't think it's fair. I have employees, well, and contractors, but I don't like the way necessarily that they might take advantage of him. And I'm like, just leave. Like, you're now 3 hours over your shift end time. Leave. That's not appropriate. And then I'm like, well, then the next day I'm like, you get to leave 2 hours early. And he's like, no. And I'm like, yes. But then he won't. And I'm like, so I think the balance comes from like, actually, I think we balance each other out because I'm so aggressive like that. And he's like, that's not how this works. And then just doesn't listen to my psycho brain where I'm like, just leave. And he's like, I will be fired.
I don't think it's as big as that. I think I have like a responsibility to do my own work, but that's on me. Like I've seen people just like not really care and just leave when they are done, or just. But I'm not gonna let other people, you know, get screwed with all the work. I don't know. I feel like I try to be as fair as possible.
Do you feel like you're the glue that kind of keeps everything together at work?
No, definitely not. But what I am, or what I will do, is if I can help somebody else ease their workload, I will definitely try to do that. Because I would want someone to do it to me, but that doesn't always happen. But just because it doesn't happen for me, it doesn't mean that I can't do it for somebody else.
I feel like in terms of like us evening each other out, I actually don't know if it's like necessarily a great pairing in the sense that like he is very logical, like it has to make sense to him. And I am emotional, but understand how the emotion is logical. Like, I don't know how to explain that other than the fact that like this emotion that I'm feeling is logical because of X, Y, and Z. And he's just like, your emotion is your emotion. And this is the logic behind it. And I feel like sometimes that actually like doesn't necessarily work because I'm like, you need to open up your emotional capacity a little bit to understand that emotions are logical responses to things sometimes. And that my anxiety might not be logical. And if thing that might happen is not logical, but me being upset or hurt or disappointed, those are logical responses to a behavior. Like the anxiety and the fear of like, you know, it's not logical is me being like, you're going to leave me. You're cheating on me. You're like, those are illogical things that I've made up in my mind. But when I tell him, hey, this hurt me. And he's like, well, it shouldn't have because I didn't mean to. And I'm like, it will hurt me even if you don't need to.
Yeah.
But in his mind, so like, I feel like sometimes for us, that's like hard because we're so opposite, like so opposite on those. But then when it gets time to like sit in the moment, I am always looking for the next thing. Like I am thinking of something and I'm like, how do I monetize this? How do I move forward? How do I build a business around this? Okay, you had an idea. I can do that. I can do here. And if I go here, then I'm going in the next step. I achieve this, I'm going in the next step. And he's very like, enjoy this. I'm like, why would I enjoy this if I'm not at the finish line yet? If I pull back and enjoy this, I will be stuck here for longer than I want to be stuck here. And I think similar to you, Joe, like I would just work. I would come home and work. And when he's home, he like pulls me out of that. And he said to me, like, you need to get off your phone. Like, I need some time. Like, you need to put your phone down. We need to spend time together. And that, I feel like that's where you even me out.
Yeah.
That's the balance.
Yeah.
It's just, you never know, like, what could happen. So it's like, why? I like, in illogical or illogical or just like things that don't make like sense. Like sometimes you just have to like sit there and be okay with just where you're at, or you'll drive yourself crazy. I don't know. I've had that happen to me, and that's why I think like I'm easier going and take a little more time for myself. And
can you dive into that?
We'll go into that like in a later episode.
I think yours wasn't career driven though.
Yeah, it was. A lot of it was. A lot of it was my whole life, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of.
But I think sometimes people can sit in that for too long and then use that as like an excuse of like, I can't go anywhere because of this thing, when there's so many other things that you could do, but you're just so comfortable sitting there. And now you're comfortable because you've been sitting there for so long that you refuse to do anything else because in your mind, this is all you can do.
Boom. Mindset. You're defeated. It's a defeated mindset.
No, why?
If you're sitting in a place and you're complacent and you can't move, then you feel defeated. It's fair.
There's always a way, but like
you can understand your situation while still moving upward from it. You can understand like, this is where I am, but I'm not going to stay here for longer than I have to.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't agree what you're saying is applying to me, like at the moment.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, no, I know. Sometimes your hands are tied. I don't think Tom thinks I even him out at all. I think he evens me out.
Okay. So,
See?
Tom, why don't you think she evens you out?
Sometimes she just go.
But you don't think that motivates you? Don't feel like that motivates you to, you know, strive for more or want more out of life?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I want to have the person that I'm with at the moment to be with me.
It doesn't strive him to do more. He wants me to pull back. Like he doesn't want to meet. He just wants me to chill.
So what kind of goals have you set for each other? Like for each other as a couple to reach? Because if you don't have anything that you're working towards, then obviously you're gonna sit still. You're not gonna move. But if you have goals that you're working towards together, then you're both moving. Like you have no choice but to move because you have to reach this goal.
Well, I think we have goals, but I'd love to hear. Tom said he doesn't know, so that's a concern.
Well, why? What do you think are
communication? That's the communication. Let's go.
What are your goals for us as a couple?
I mean, to move forward with our lives and like to grow as a couple.
What does that look like to you?
To grow a family, be able to like live with each other.
Okay.
Specific goals? Do you have specific goals?
Yes.
So you just mentioned like family. So you mentioned, okay, so family that's a goal, that's a pocket. So what else? Because you have to have some other like things collective, to combine together to move forward with. because you can't start a family unless you got the money coming in. So you got to have all these things set up.
We have to get engaged. We have to buy a house.
Yeah, but those are milestones.
Yes,
right?
that's what they're talking about. These
So-
are goals for us as a couple.
I feel like those are milestones. I don't think those are goals.
Well, we have to save money to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Like there are
What's,
people.
can I ask a question? What's the difference in your mind, Tom, between a goal and a milestone?
Yeah, I was just going there.
To have like an end product.
But isn't a milestone an end product?
No.
So like explain in your own words, what's a milestone and what's a goal? So because I don't understand the difference between the two. So like, I want to know, I want to
So
learn.
if you're saying like, the whole goal is to, be a family, live together, be
What is
married.
the difference between a goal and a milestone?
Well, let me get to it.
Okay.
I would like to explain myself.
Okay.
So it's like you have the goal is to be married, but what comes with that? That comes with, the first steps, which is engagement, house, kids, yada, yada. But those are milestones. That's not a goal. The end goal is to be able to live our life together.
So in your mind, like a milestone is like a stepping stone to the goal. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would see it the other way. I would see the milestone as like the long-term goal and like goals as the things you need to achieve to get there. That's what I would say. But I understand your perspective.
So now that we have that, what are all the milestones that you have set for you guys? So within the next 3 years, say for instance, the next 3 years, in 3 years or 5 years, you want to get married, but there's so much that needs to happen before you get married. Because I would think that you want to be somewhere financially, you want to have you want to at least have that home before you get married, I would think.
Oh yeah, I want to have like a goal. I think for us is I want my personal goal, but a goal for both of us is to have something that we could like an asset, but like also an asset in which we could rent out. To just have residual income. I know that's not hers, but for us, because I'm also thinking in the long term, and I'm like, we need to have certain things so that we're comfortable when we get to that goal. And I try to bring it up to her, but she doesn't like when I do it. So she's like, I want to have this first. And I'm like, if we have that first, we're not going to have the one thing that's going to make us money to be able to be comfortable at that said goal, that milestone for me.
I just think of things differently. And
okay.
I feel like you think about the comfortable situation at the end. I want to have the uncomfortable out of the way before we have the comfortable.
So what's the uncomfortable?
Well, for me, I would like to start to have rental properties. I would like to actually invest in something that we're going to have long term, where we're going to be able to have money out of, which we could build into a business. She wants to have a house first. I want to be able to have someone buy us a house that when we work, we could save our money and somebody else is paying. This sounds really bad when I'm saying it, but I want to have somebody else paying my mortgage.
That doesn't sound bad. That's a business. That's good.
Yes, I know, but like the way it comes off is like I'm having somebody else pay. But that's what I want for us. She wants to have the house first and then build into having rentals.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your reasoning for that, Lo?
How are we supposed to go anywhere with our lives and have kids and move forward when we're constantly moving every year and living in an apartment? Like our relationship, we should have been doing this a year ago when he started this initiation process, but we've done nothing on it. And now it's another year later. So at this point, that goal needs to change because our timeline has changed. If he had started this when he said he wanted to, that would have been a different conversation.
So nobody's holding it. So you guys are not holding each other accountable. You're a team. You have to hold each other accountable.
What was your outlook of having this?
What do you mean?
What's your outlook of having?
I don't think my outlook of having rental properties is a bad idea. I've always
Okay, so
been-
why do you think the time has passed?
I'm 31. I want to have kids. I'm not trying to, I mean, it takes at least 6 months to get a house. Then you have to renovate it. Then you want to get enough money from that rental property to generate enough income for us to buy a house. That's another 2-3 years on top of that. Us still in an apartment, us not having a house. We have a dog who's 10 years old and going to die soon. And he probably deserves a backyard once in his life to run around in. Like, there's a lot that goes into this.
Yes,
And I think as a woman, we do have like our biological clock in our minds, because unlike men, we cannot reproduce forever. So like, Lo, I get it from your perspective. You're like, I can't kick this can 5 years down the road and think that we're going to have multiple children. At that point, I'm looking at maybe one. And you have to understand this is something, Tom, that like Lo and I have experienced firsthand so many times. We've both worked with children with so many different disabilities and things like that. And while those are wonderful children and we love working with them and we always have, it is something we take into consideration when considering our best years of having children and lowering the risks of us potentially having kids that don't have a high quality of life or whatever. And that does, advanced maternal age does increase your chances of things not going as well as you would like.
But the one thing too is it's not something that we can't do simultaneously. We can have both things at the same time. The one thing doesn't have to pay for the whole other thing.
No, this is a moot point. We talked about this 2 days ago, and I literally said that would be a great property. Let's live in it while we renovate it. That was literally my answer.
We didn't just talk about this 2 days ago.
We did. It was a week
This has
ago.
always has.
We talked
came
about
up.
it walking to my nephew's baseball, which was Sunday.
So did you guys go look at it? Is it a house that you're going to go look at? Are you guys going to go look at it?
No, but that's not the only time we've.
But it's the
about
most recent time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the time that matters, because that was my perspective. The most recent perspective is this perspective. Like, you're now docking me for previous perspectives when maybe I just showed you that my perspective has changed, but you don't want to listen to that.
No. I don't. What do you? If your perspective has your perspective
this is a
changed,
moot point. This is not even like anywhere on the radar.
Why not? Because you say it's not.
No, because
Yes.
I know.
No, because every time I bring it up, you just shoot it down.
Tom, you should do whatever will make you happy, and I will support you. You don't need my blessing. We are not married. You could literally go buy a house tomorrow if you wanted to, and you don't need my permission.
Well, I ask for your opinion.
Just
So, like,
You got it and you didn't like it.
I think that you should do whatever you want to do to make yourself happy.
Sure. Okay.
What?
Then I'm just gonna hear about it.
Tom, I literally told you a week ago that is a good idea, and we should live in it while we renovate it. And then once it's done being renovated, we move into the next unit. That was what I said a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that not the direction that you're listening to me from?
Because your whole other right before that, you were just saying no, and now you're saying that this is your perspective.
Tom, go for it.
Thank you.
Just go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go get it. Go look at the house. Take pictures. Take Lo with you. If not, if she doesn't have the time because she's busy, you go look at it. Take all the pictures. Take all the videos you need to. Show them to her. Set it up. Get the realtor in there. Drop the money down and get it.
Okay.
Just go.
Sure.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think it's fair that while I may have had a strong reaction previously, I took into consideration everything you were saying. And I think what you need to give me credit for is that my perspective did change a week ago, and you're still not choosing to respect that new perspective change because it doesn't fit your narrative that I don't support this decision for you. Even though I showed you that I do.
Okay. What do you mean?
I mean exactly what I said.
Those were a whole lot of words.
I love you. Go buy the house.
I'm not gonna go and buy a fucking house.
Moot point. See? What the fuck was the point of that whole fucking conversation?
Because we were talking
Thank
about
you.
goals and milestones. Right? Goals and milestones. This is the one thing that I was saying I want to do. We talk about one thing, and your mind goes to exactly, we're just going to go and fucking do it. And that's the place and that's the spot. But that's not how it works.
What do you mean? That's you can go do it. You can go find a house. There's a million for sale.
Okay.
So many houses for sale.
That King is coming.
Basically, you, Tommy, you can start the process whenever. You can take charge and lead on the process of you guys getting a house wherever you get a house. Whether you get a house there in New York, whether you get a house in Delaware, whether you get a house in Florida, whatever. You're leading the charge. Just make it happen.
The whole thing is not the process. The process is your thought on the actual placement of doing it. So I brought
Is that what you mean?
one place, and then you said no. So you're saying your perspective is changing from a previous, but I'm just like, this is an example of something.
He keeps saying I said no. What did I say a week ago?
What'd you say a week ago?
I said we could buy the house and live in it while we renovated it.
Okay, so and then I say one thing. So I'm talking about the milestones, and then you don't want to do it. That's what I'm saying. But you're about this one specific area.
Take a breath for a second.
Why me? What's
Because you're
it has to
getting
do with me?
upset. If this is a milestone or a goal for you.
Because you totally just switched up from what the whole conversation is, and then you're bringing one example of it and saying, buy it and we'll live in it and we'll renovate it.
I'm not saying that specific house. I'm saying a house we could buy and we could live in it and renovate it before you wanted to rent it out while we're getting it taken care of. I'm not saying that. This is the very literal, like, I'm not saying that specific house. When we were walking to T-Ball, I said, you know what? If you wanted to do this, we could buy a house, live in it while we renovate it, and then rent it out. And you're like, yeah, we could. And I was like, okay, great. And that was the last conversation we had on it.
Yes, but I'm very literal. So we're talking about that one
We're not
place.
talking about that.
But I am talking about that place. And then, see?
She's going to explode. It sounds like it's just a bit like a mismatch in the timeline of doing the things. Like you guys are on the same page about doing the things. It's just the timeline in which you want to do them. Like you want to start getting the investment properties, whatever, and then buy the house and do all these things. And Lo's like, why don't we start with one? We live in it. We renovate it. That's our place of residence. And then when we are ready, we can move to a more permanent residence. And then that becomes our first of a rental property.
No, his thing is that I only gave him permission for that one house. That permission to do it didn't expand beyond the one house that he showed me. Like I said yes, and to him, I'm only saying yes to that house. And I think I'm like, no, I just said yes to the idea. Like it doesn't, we never even looked at this house. Like, so that's where he's saying he's very literal. And this is where I'm like, yeah.
What do you mean? Your mind's blown. My mind's blown. But you were talking about the one space.
I was not.
At the moment you were. Which seemed to me at the moment you were.
I'm dead.
Save me.
Save me.
Deja! Like, baby, I always support you. I've been supportive of every venture that you want to go on.
It sounds like we need to do an episode on goals. and like how you align your goals in a relationship, because I feel like that's something that everybody does, but it takes like conversation, and it might be worth like diving into a little bit deeper.
He won't talk to me about his goals because he'll tell me he wants to do something. And I'm very much like, Joe, I'll look it up. How can you do this? I send him the steps and he gets stressed out and frustrated. And is like, stop pushing me. Why? I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm just talking about it. I'm like, stop talking about it. Just do it.
Oh, so this is an episode we should do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I have thoughts.
Execution.
So do you.
Goal.
Execution.
It's just an idea. And then it turns to a goal in your mind.
I think all
For
ideas
me.
are goals.
Mhm.
Help.
No.
This episode is long.
No, you got it, Tom. I mean, you just have to go for it. Just do it. You don't need permission to do something. Get it started, make it happen, and then bring low along.
Just bring me along.
You're in charge, man. You're in charge. You got this. You got this. You got this, Tom.
You want to know?
You killed this. You killed the podcast today. You take charge. Just take charge and make it happen. It will be successful. And guess what? You can fail. It's okay for you to fail. You can fail and you get right back up and you brush yourself off and you keep on going. That makes that is where you learn. That's where you learn the most. It's when you try. You have to try. You have to make the attempt. And once you make the attempt and you fail, you should want to fail. You should want to fail because that's how you learn. And you get smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. And then guess what? You don't fail anymore. You just kill it every single time. That takes a while. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, but you'll get to that point as long as you try.
We love you.
Boom. We love
Thank
you, Tom. Kill it, boy. Let's go, baby.
And that's Pear Pears. Welcome.
We'll see you next week.